So I've just finished 16 weeks of my AIM journey, and I've also just hit 225 hours in Kovacs FPS AIM trainer. Now this process has taken me from totally unranked inside of the voltaic benchmarks to finally being very close to reaching platinum complete in those same benchmarks. And I think that you can have the same success that I've had, more than likely even faster than I had it. These are 5 lessons that I learnt on my AIM journey. Number 1, take a break. Now grinding constantly can become pretty draining on you mentally and physically. When I'm doing my training and they become to 1.5 to 2 hours long, I find myself that if I take breaks and talk to chat for a minute or two, or get up and walk around if I'm not streaming, I find that when I come back, I'm much more focused than I was before I left, and that I feel a little bit more refreshed. Now take a break can also apply to if you're grinding every day. Just take a couple of days off. As my example, I do 3 days a week. That's all I did for many weeks in a row, and I didn't see much progress lost. In fact, I saw some weeks where I would take those days off and I would come back even stronger. All I really recommend is, if you're feeling tired or worn out or just bored of AIM training and you feel like you're not getting your progress, don't be afraid to take that break. It's not going to set you back as much as you might think. Number 2, try different things. Now, one of the things that's pushed pretty heavily in the AIM training community is using different sensitivities. Now, a higher sensitivity forces you to use smaller movements on your hand and working out those muscles that you don't get when you're using your normal sensitivity or even really slow sensitivities. Now that same thing applies for low sensitivities. If you're using a super low sensitivity, it takes a big swipe from your arm to even turn 90 degrees in game. Whereas then when you transfer back to your normal sensitivity, that same movement is still sending you further. That translates into higher speed, but also better precision when used in conjunction with the high sensitivity training. Of course, that's with sensitivities, but you can also go in a different direction and play with your field of view to get different results as well. Or you can go as small as making small tweaks to your crosshair or even target colors to give your brain a bit of a refresh and something different to look at. And that's not to mention the huge variety of scenarios out there that you can use if you feel like you're stagnating. Number 3. Ask for advice. At one point in my journey, I was having huge issues with my static aim, and my thinking was, oh, I'm just going too slow, I need to speed up. When in reality, I just wasn't hitting the targets. So when I asked the question, someone recommended, don't worry about going fast, just hit the targets. And a lot of you well-educated people know that's basically the Bard pill. And not only did I immediately see improvement, that improvement continued for a few weeks. Another example, I was working on PGTI and I have a very difficult time with these precise tracking scenarios. The advice that I was given was to just follow the pattern. Not the bot, the pattern. Because the issue that I was running into was, I'll get onto the target, but I want to stay on the target so I would slow down. When in reality, what I should have been doing was following the pattern of the target, and in following that pattern, I got more precise in following that pattern, and I got better at tracking the target in conjunction with that. And that's just 2 examples that I've got. I'm sure that there is many more that I just have missed out on because I wasn't asking the question. Number 4, smoothness is the most fundamental skill in mouse control. There is arguments to be made for reactive or static or dynamic clicking as the most fundamental skills in mouse control. But my reasoning behind saying this is, a lot of people just lack in smoothness. I've heard it described as gluing your aim to a target, and I think that's a brilliant way to describe it. If you're not smooth, you might be able to follow a target, but you're still going to be missing quite a lot, right? But if you're smooth, you'll be able to follow that target's movements, but you'll be much more efficient in those movements. And I think by far, the category that I have benefited from the most is smoothness. But I would also love to see your ideas on this in the comments below. And number 5, just relax. I find that a relaxed arm follows targets smoothly, completes flicks smoothly, and is far more efficient than a tensed one. Now this is a tough one to actually achieve when you are in training. My advice is, just to take a second. You can always just restart the run whenever you notice this is happening. I do find that some days I have to restart up to 10 scenarios in a session because I'm tensing. Now, relaxing also isn't strictly a physical thing. One of the biggest things that I've found that I struggle with, and I think a lot of people do, is that last 10 seconds in a run. You can see it out of your peripheral vision. It's ticking down and you're getting nervous. Am I going to beat my new personal best? Am I going to suck? Is it going to be a bad run? It felt like a good run. Am I going to choke in the last 10 seconds? It's gonna be what it's gonna be. You did well, you're okay, or you were bad. You can always do another run. But I find if you are able to stave off that anxiety for a couple more seconds, you are able to be much smoother in those last 10 seconds, and you are able to finish out that run just as you started it, full of confidence. Now, that's not everything that I've learned, but I do think that's the top 5 most fleshed out ideas in my mind that will help anyone that is currently aim training, struggling with aim training, or thinking about starting aim training. Now, if you'd like to witness my aim journey, you can go back in the past and check out the playlist here, or in the future, you can subscribe or follow me on Twitch to catch me live.